Oh, it's time. Time to get radical.
Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome to another Radical Comment of the Week. These are the very best comments from the time period of the 19th of April through the 25th. Starting off with the almost honorable mentions, Jesus, Art Bell, and Frag Taster. The first honorable mention comes to us from Costech. This basically echoes my comments from a few months ago where people just want to be a part of something, want to belong. Some of these people could be those who were ostracized when they were younger, or even now as an adult. I get that. Or maybe they were loners for other reasons and now they realize they no longer want to be alone, but don't know how to react in the real world, so they use their online personalities to connect with others. I get that too. But since that comment, I feel as though I can add one more type. Those who don't want to admit they were or wrong. They initially believed in the mission, goal, whatever, but can't admit they were wrong. So they continue supporting these charlatans, these snake oil salesmen, these con artists. So they don't feel like fools. I get that as well. Most, if not all people, have at some point been taken, but most won't admit it, even when the proof is undeniable. You could be someone who was suckered out of, $100,000 in front of 1,000 people and still state that you weren't wrong, that your investment will still pay dividends tenfold. Not sure that's an actual thing, not into finance myself. Even as the con artist is being hauled away in cuffs while the building they held your money in is burning to the ground and you realize you have absolutely no legal recourse or insurance policy. Thank you, Costech. The next honorable mention comes to us from Remember the Great Sports. Rick, for someone who has an addiction collecting autographs and sports stuff, I also collect video games, but not as hardcore as I once did. I'm actually an old school gamer in the fact I am not a big fan of having to download stuff, and probably the Xbox One will be my last system I buy. Now for collecting a game more than once, I have a few games in my collection that I have bought multiple copies of because they are AAA titles and I have played them so much that the original copy I bought is in such bad shape, playing wear and tear. I like to have a backup copy of my favorite game. Now mind you, I won't go out and buy a game in every language or even spend a whole lot of money on these backup physical copies, but whenever GameStop would have 4 for $10 or 4 for $20 deal, I have picked up second copies of GTA 5, Skyrim, Fallout 3, and Fallout 4 for example, because I can't imagine a world 10 to 15 years from now that I wouldn't want to play those AAA titles again. So if my original copy craps out on a PS3 or Xbox 360, then I have my second copy I only spent $5 or less on ready to go. Hope that gives you insight on the mind of a collector/hoarder, smiley face. Now, with that said, I think I only have 4 versions of Skyrim, but each is for a different system, PC, 360, PS3, and Xbox One, with, I believe, backup disc for PS3 and Xbox 360. So I have 6 total in my collection of that game. Thank you, Remember the Great Sports. And the last honorable mention comes to us from Mick Hero. Really good points on the fact... And the last honorable mention comes to us from Mick Hero. Really good points on the fact that some YouTubers may be replaceable, and it honestly makes me think about what type of channel that isn't replaceable, but I think a lot of things do go into that factor for sure. Like production values, the information they are giving, how many months or years have you watched their content for, their e-begging or lack of, and of course, personality. Are they down to earth, always replying to comments or acknowledging you, or do they not even care to jump into that comment section? Honestly, I'm just glad that there are plenty of channels that are somewhat connected to this community that really do value the time and interaction that they get. More power to those guys, I say. Thank you, Big Hero. Moving right along into the medal ceremony, the bronze medal comes to us from Wolfpack 1. Hey, how dare you compare Radical Reggie to a violent, raging alcoholic that needs to go to AA? Raging alcoholics are not that bad compared to Reggie, laugh out loud. In all fairness, though, I do respect Reggie and anyone else who serves or served in the military. He stood up to be a soldier, and I want to see him make better decisions, stop putting games ahead of himself, and come out on top in the end. A lot more than MGR at least. I personally believe it's a mild disorder where some people collect stuff because they are unsatisfied in some way or another with themselves. When they collect things ahead of their well-being, it not only helps them temporarily feel respite from their issues, but they also feel like they aren't worth anything to anyone without their material objects. Thus, they feel it's not worth putting themselves first. You gotta learn to love yourself first, people. I know someone probably might say, I shouldn't be armchair diagnosing someone. I know I don't have the right to say that Reggie has these types of issues, but I believe it's normal and fair to tell people what you genuinely think of them as long as it's not irresponsible and doesn't cause harm to anyone. I would prefer for people to tell me how they truthfully view me from their perspective, good or bad, instead of keeping it in for the sake of being cordial. Maybe I get more insightful into myself. Maybe I see a flaw in myself that I wasn't privy to before. Maybe they are just wrong and I can't show them through the actions that perception that they have of me is indeed a misconception. Point is, we are all not perfect, and I think we should let each other know what perception we all have of each other. To take in all perspectives, to find the truth within yourself and your fellow human beings. One of the main things that separates us from other species is the ability to communicate in visual, verbal, and written form. So, use it. It's what allows us to constantly move forward and progress as human beings. Fuck, I tend to ramble. I suffer from periodic insomnia and my mind works a mile a minute at times. Keep it radical. Well, I think giving our thoughts on things. Let's say you see somebody that collects 5 different copies of Haunting Grounds, 4 or 5 or whatever. I believe that if you see something that might be detrimental to somebody's life, then feel free to speak out on it. You can make an argument, hey, what about people's feelings? What about sparing their feelings? If you see that somebody is 600 pounds, I guess it depends on if they're male or female. I don't really understand that, okay? Apparently you can't speak out on, female's weight, but, hey, that guy over there, you can call him a fat ass, that's just fine. I always wondered about that. How it's okay, to poke fun at a guy that's overweight, but a girl that's overweight, hey, because women always want equality, but you can't even say that. I'm gonna ramble too. There was one instance to where I was in a group of people, Wolfpack, and the subject of weight loss came up, and I was really proud that I had gotten my waist down pretty slim. I was looking really trim after about a 5-10 pound weight loss. And there were males and females in that circle. And you should see the look on this one female that was clearly overweight, her eyes got big like I was going to say something to her, and I didn't say anything to her, right? But I just kind of brought up in the circle that I was using this supplement to help lose weight, and just the look that she had towards me, just staring holes through me and everything like that. Now, that's somebody that kind of knows they have an issue. They know they have a weight problem, but they are just deathly afraid of people pointing it out. If you know you have a problem, I don't know if Radical Reggie really knows he has an issue, but I think subconsciously you have to know that you have an issue if you're collecting multiple copies of the same game in different languages, okay? Because it's all about usefulness. Now, perfect example, I would say. If you rationalize it and you say, you know what, I can't see myself in a future to where this game right here I don't have. I love this game so much and I want to play this game a ton. Okay, if you're playing a lot of the things you collect, then it's getting use, it's getting value to you. But if you're just stacking things on top of stacking things, and you don't even have an idea or a plan that you're going to resell these things or, make more money, you don't have even like a business plan for it. There's no plan to whatever you're going to have. You just need to stack things on top of things. Then that becomes an issue, especially if you're neglecting other things in your life, or you're drinking expired soda and all that stuff. So a lot of people don't really get it. Many times when I criticize, I want to help the lives of people and I want to make things a little better. And sometimes we shouldn't be afraid to point out the obvious. Thank you, Wolfpack. Next up, with the silver medal, we have Data Ombre. There comes a point in every gamer's life when you simply will not have the time to devote to playing and experiencing video games for large amounts of time anymore. I see that quite clearly from my own example. I'm married and a father of 2 young kids. I've always been into collecting, tinkering with, playing with video game systems, retro computers, and technology in general. In the beginning, it was only myself. I was single, and the interest mentioned above would begin and end affecting only me, myself, and I. There was so much spare time available to experience these hobbies, for as long as I wanted to. It took so much space to be able to do it all, and I didn't care. It impacted only me. But even then, I realized that there was no way in hell that I could go through all the hundreds and hundreds of games, tech, computers, perennials. I know I could probably say that correctly, but some words I see, I don't know. And genuinely to be able to enjoy them all. Sorry, when I see a word that I have trouble saying, and there's certain words, I can think out clearly, but I have trouble, saying them. I don't know. Sorry about that. I literally would only focus on a very select few items that really kept me entertained. And the rest were, well, mostly kept as trophies. Fast forward to today, married, kids, and I basically have the time to only on a daily basis, for example, unbox a system, set it up, plug it in, play a game for like 15 minutes or so, turn it off, pack it all away. Most of the collections are now officially all trophies that sit unused for no good reason, but are heavily weighing on the available space in our house, and as such are negatively affecting other family members. I think the above example sooner or later happens to everyone that is into collecting of some sort. If you are single, it begins and ends with you. But if you ever plan to step into a relationship or grow a family, it will most definitely have some sort of an impact on your loved ones, and it will force you to reevaluate your priorities. I think that today I would only perhaps be able to justify my affection to all these items and interest if I were so financially well off that I had the means to own a larger house with plenty of extra space, with a dedicated man cave, or I would store all the stuff with zero impact to others. I'm not well off, so yeah, time to sell. It's hoarding. This is my honest, humble opinion, so take it for what it is. Well, I thank you for sharing that. I thank you for sharing that there. All these comments were on my Radical Reggie hoarding upload from months ago. And I got a lot of response to that, from a lot of different people with their personal stories. And me personally, I'm single. I'm not married. I don't have kids. I'm not saying that might not happen one day. Yeah, I'll try my best not to have any children because I don't know. I just have no personal desire to pass on my radical seed. I do not personally. That's one thing, and a lot of people are shocked when they hear that, but I'm I just don't have no desire to. From a perspective you might call it greedy in a way. I just don't want to sacrifice a lot of my life to, another being, a being that I have to nurture for 20 years. I'm looking at that that's wasted precious time. It's wasted precious time. And maybe later on, when I'm on my deathbed, I'll look back and go, I wish I could have had kids, to carry my seed down and, but I'll deal with that when I get to it, Life's about making decisions. Sometimes you gotta make tough decisions. There's games right now that I would love to play. There's movies I would love to watch. Series of movies I would love to watch. TV shows and everything like that. But it's all about the hourglass. I've talked about this before. We all have a limited hourglass. The more you go through life, the more you think about it. You focus on that hourglass and how much time you have left. You start rationalizing it. I think about YouTube a lot, and I'm okay, how much time am I willing to spend here on YouTube? Thank you for your comment. I wish you and your family well. Take care. And you almost got it. You almost got the gold. But the person that got the gold medal today, 4 months ago, I need to catch up on these. This person that got the gold medal, I think also got a almost honorable mention. And this is the second time Frag Taster has done that. Okay, this is a big comment, so there might be pauses here because I have to zoom in this motherfucker. Frag Taster says, this channel is kind of weird these days. Know what I mean? 1. It's like everyone who is loyal to the channel are now two-faces who insult Rick on other rival channels. Sadly, this includes many people who used to be regular comment of the day peeps. I've seen people who Rick might have even considered friends talking dirt about him. They show up occasionally on here, say nice things in the comments, then shit on his face over on rival channels an hour later. I don't want to point my finger at any names, but they are some of the biggest commenters of the past, who still come on here and leave comments occasionally. It's really pathetic, and they should be ashamed. 2. It appears that besides those Judases, everyone else seems to have abandoned this channel in the last month or so, now that the drama is over. I find this really sad as well. They were all hanging around like cackling hyenas, only when Rick was pointing out bad things and targeting people that they hated, or for the strikes drama, and then when it's all settled, they leave him high and dry. People, especially on YouTube, are so damn fickle. 3. Rick's not been nearly as proactive in responding to people, even though most of his videos now, usually with some exceptions, only get a few commenters. I suspect there is a really good reason for this, but compared to the old days, it seems like Rick is a bit more hands-off these days, almost as if he is using this channel for more as a dumping ground for his ideas, and to blow off steam during these crazy times. 4. Rick appears to be doing far more on-camera videos these days. We never see his surely unmatched Adonis mug, but we see a lot of oddball videos of him doing weird and usually humorous things, a change I personally welcome. 5. Which brings me to the final point. Rick's channel has become experimental. He either has put less effort into his channel these days and is just trolling us with bizarre filler content, or, as I think, he's gone batshit crazy and is doubling down on the stuff that makes him laugh. Laugh out loud. I know critical satire ain't what it used to be. What with the PC police controlling all social media and knocking on anyone's door, who dare criticize anyone else? You say something is deemed bullying or hate speech and you get in trouble. It's just not sustainable anymore. One thing is clear, this isn't the old Radical Rick show. This is Radical Rick 2.0 with a new pinch of Monty Python flavor. Oh, and on a side note, probably my favorite video you have ever done was the Show Off Saturdays, April 11, 2020 in the wild. I laughed my ass off. But yes, strange times over here on this channel. I guess it's true that times are a-changin'. I hope you stick around, Rick, and find that perfect niche that reignites this channel again. If not, at least you still got people like me who like this new direction of the channel. Plus you got, the real world and all your self-respect in it, which few people today seem to care about. The real world being a place where so damn many of these immature, spoiled, lazy, e-begging man-children on YouTube could do to spend more time in. You do you, wherever that leads us here. No, wait, you do you, wherever that leads us here. You do. I'm not taking your gold away, but I don't know. I think that sentence could have been structured a little better. Oh, there's more. I know I'll keep on watching all the bizarre new videos, eating them up, and popping in from time to time, as I always did before I changed my YouTube name. Used to be Attack of the Pixels. And if anyone remembers me, by the way, one of those thumbs up is mine. Sorry that I can only give one. And more. Wow, I blew 20 minutes writing and quick edit this. I really got to get ready for work now. Essential employee slave labor. Take care, Rick. Sweet Prince of E-Beggar satire. Ooh, man, that reminds me. I got to get ready for fucking work in a little bit here. And I think I spent maybe like 30 minutes on this. This one's kind of rushed. This one is kind of rushed. But can I put this together? This is a struggle I got to every single day of 2019. Every single day I got to this struggle. Where I was going through, putting these things together. Okay, well, I'll go to your points here. And we'll finish this off, okay? The 5 points. I don't even know what I'll call this. I'm not sure. Man, oh man. Again, fuck. I only got so much time to really complete this. He says, like everyone who is loyal to this channel, are now two faces who insult Rick on other rival channels. Well, I think they get away with that because I don't really have time to go to a lot of other different channels. I don't really have the time to go to other channels and comment on other channels now. Again, talking about the hourglass, I don't have that much time, right? Now, when it comes to being loyal and loyalty, I don't and never have expected loyalty. Okay, this sets me apart from a lot of other people. I don't expect people's loyalty. And loyalty doesn't play into anything, factors like maybe, comment of the week or comment of the day. It's not about loyalty, right? Because when you are critical, when you are a judge of things, and then sometimes people. You know, I feel people should be able to speak whatever they want to and say their piece on me and the channel. It's their right. But then again, if you got people talking mad bullshit or stepping out of line, then of course I'm not going to, I'm not going to be down with that. I'm like, well, fuck you. I mean, there's a line between, let's say if Wolfpack 1 came by and said, hey, you know what? I'm just an example. Let's say he said, hey, great video, Rick, but then he went to another channel and said, hey, there's some things about Rick's channel I think he needs to change. I think that really didn't work, or this didn't work, or whatever. Then I'm like, okay. Like, I'm not low-tier freaking God. I wouldn't say, motherfucker, you banned. Motherfucker, you banned from the channel. How dare you criticize me? I'm a God. How dare you criticize me? Whatever. But I think there's a line there. And I'm rushing through this. I could probably, on that number 1, I could... I don't know. I see a lot of these points here. I can make separate uploads on all these different points, but I'm going to rush through that, okay? You said, it appears that besides those Judases, everyone else seems to have abandoned this channel in the last month or so. The period when I came back, after January, there might still be people that don't know that I came back. So there was a period that I kind of noticed a lot of people weren't back because they didn't know I was back, And this a couple weeks ago, somebody commented on an older video and said, like, but I thought you were gone. You came back. So what happens is part of YouTube is about momentum. You have to keep the ball rolling. You have to keep the ball rolling because people will go to other channels, and a lot of people will just kind of forget about your existence. How many people have forgotten about Alpha Omega Sin, who hasn't been back to his channel in like a year or so? So that's what happens. People see something else shiny and they go somewhere else. But thankfully, I don't focus on that as much. There might have been a time, admittedly, where maybe I focused on how many people would come to the channel or, stuff like that. But the thing is, and later on you talk about the real world and getting success and having fun and my friends and BJs and things going on in the real world, I put a lot more stock into than this right here. This is just a way to have fun sometimes, blow off steam, and actually maybe, be a little helpful to people, right? 3, Rick's not been nearly as proactive in responding to people, even though, let's see, wait a second. What the fuck? Did I skip one? Okay, did I? I don't know. Well, I think I might have skipped number 2. But it's okay. We're rushing along. Sorry about that. We'll go right to 4. Rick appears to be doing far more on-camera videos these days. Yeah. Okay, that's something I started with Show Off Saturdays, and I have fun with that. Now, the last couple have been kind of rushed. In the Wild. You bring up In the Wild. Wait a sec. You brought that in later. That was not a point, but I'll link that in. Sorry, I'm not a smoker. I don't know what the fuck I've been coughing so much. But the setup for In the Wild, the setup for the, the guy working on John Hancock's roof and everything. Remember that one? The setup is so fun. When I get everything together, and I'm like, okay, what am I going to use for this one? Okay, remember the one where I put some ketchup on a shaver and I was talking about, shaving my nether region and everything? Those are really fun, right? And I've kind of like allowed myself to have a lot more fun on a channel here in 2020 and everything. So Show Off Saturdays is incredibly fun to me. A lot of people I know are not down with Show Off Saturdays, and you talk about being experimental. But the thing is, I think it's equal parts. Equal parts, you want to be there and provide what your subscribers, would like and what they react to positively and everything. Otherwise, it means you don't care about any feedback. But also, you really have to have fun on YouTube. You gotta have fun, because if you're not having fun, I've said this before, if you're not having fun on YouTube at times, then what the fuck are you on the platform for? Okay? It's supposed to be a fun video sharing site and everything. So, I know a lot of people right now are like, oh, we fucking hate Show Off Saturdays. We hate Show Off Saturdays. I'm like, I really don't fucking care. I'm going to continue Show Off Saturdays because I have a lot of fun with it. I really would like to do another one of those with Billy Bob Joe Ray Joseph. I got ideas. We'll see if I do some more of that in the future with that character. And 5, which brings me to the final point. Rick's channel has become experimental. He's either put less effort or is just trolling us with bizarre filler, You think I might have gone batshit crazy and doubling down on the stuff that makes him laugh. Radical Rick 2.0. I can't really tell you in the future or from day to day, like if there's any like long-term really plan for the channel at this point. If I see something or I hear about something and I want to talk about it, then I'm probably going to talk about it. I think there might be a shift more to be more helpful, to do more Radical Rick tips uploads. One person had a question to me, like they had a channel and they wanted some tips or some advice. It was the person that admitted that they donated $100 to Angry Joe, and I see an opportunity there. I see another opportunity for outreach, because I've spent a lot of time talking about how wrong it is for people like Angry Joe to accept and expect $100 from their audience. But how about what I can do personally to try to help a lot of these people that are donating a lot of this money? And is there anything I could maybe do, some pointers I can give someone for free to maybe keep them from donating their hard-earned money to YouTubers? And I think he said Angry Joe didn't even offer him any tips. So that's just money burned, okay? So then we get into a level of scamming if you're saying in your Patreon tiers you're going to do something, but you don't wind up doing it, okay? So, yeah, I think there's opportunities this year and next year and 2022 in the future to just do what I want to do, just to have fun, okay? Because I got so many things to worry about at times in the real world, okay? Part of me just wants to come here and do a lot of what I actually really want to do, okay? And whatever that's going to mean, whatever that's going to look like, if there's a lot of suggestions people have in the comment section down below, I have a desire to change things up while at the same time making people that have been here for years happy, So it's a balancing act. And I think I do it the best I could possibly can, given my incredibly limited time frame. And that's going to be it for Comment of the Week. Thank you, everyone who commented. I really appreciate your comments. Have a great day.